Hey, live. All right. Yo, it is another edition of the High Hopes podcast, Jack. This is about as we're back as it gets, a series in Washington. Workman like handle the first two and then lose the third, so we can't come in and do a sweep pod. Like, this has happened 8 trillion times in the history of this podcast. It's here we are, buddy. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay. I'm
My
good.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very glad they took 2 of 3. Kind of an uninspiring 2 of 3, but
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
as always, we take it.
Yes, we'll get into all of it. It was definitely like, guys, like for a team that was like, hey, we really care about winning the division. We really care about starting better this year. Like, you don't look like it, guys. Like, you are certainly not playing tight, crisp, heady, smart baseball.
Are you saying that they're not? Are you saying they're not running the bases well?
I mean, why do we have to do this every year? Like, every year, it's like they got to take like a month or 2 months to figure out how to run the freaking bases again. It's like off season, and they completely forget how to run the bases. How do you get doubled up there? Like, that was crazy. I mean, who in the world didn't think that ball was getting caught, or at least is going to guard against it in that situation? Man, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. Yes.
Dude, I feel like Sunday pods are
a little Miller Light.
Miller Lights. Listen, there's been a uptick, I would say, in these summery drinks. But I would say that nothing screams baseball more than a nice, crisp, fine Pilsner like a Miller Lite.
Oh, yeah, look at you. I couldn't agree more. I don't think there's any question. Honestly, I think it would be like heresy to say anything else. All right, let's get into it because we got a lot to get to.
There's a lot to get into. You ditched me last week, so we have the whole week to...
We did it on Monday. I ditched you. Yes, sir. So we're going to pretend the Red Series didn't happen,
Well, outside of Bryce hitting 3 home runs.
Bryce hitting 3 homers, the Ricardo Pinto story, what a story. I mean,
very baseball story. Is there more baseball story than Ricardo Pinto?
No, it's like, I love this stuff. I mean,
did you weep? Did
why
you cry?
We're sports fans? I didn't.
Okay,
it wasn't
only Luke Williams, yes?
I need the family in the stand crying to get me crying. You know what I mean? I need the player crying with the family in the stand.
Right.
That's to really, set me off, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, what a story. And then, look, I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, the starting pitching certainly hasn't been a problem, Jack. I mean, Sanchi wasn't great today, but I mean,
well, it was beat battle.
Yeah, I mean, and they gave up 3 runs. Like, come on, man. Like, let's start freaking swinging some bats here. Let's start running the bases better. All right, let's dive in. I got a lot I want to get. Let's start with just the overall takeaway from the series. And, the Red Series too, but just the coming out of the Red Series, going down, look, they did, again, uninspiring, a 4-0 win that felt like it should have been 7-0 or 8-0, a win yesterday that, just felt ugly. And today, obviously, just kind of just hang around, can't get it done. Takeaways, and the Nats are bad. But your thoughts?
The Nats are bad. But
they got some guys.
Well,
No, we didn't see C.J. Abrams though, which he's probably one of their best guys.
Well, it's not even that. It's just they haven't traded all the old players they signed in the offseason yet. Mm-hmm. So, we haven't.
They'll be worse. Yeah.
Yes, they will be worse post trade deadline for sure. So I think the biggest takeaway from the first week and a half of the season is just the offense, because starting staff's been really good. I mean, Nola had the bad game.
The one Nola start, yeah.
Everything's been fine. I didn't think Nola was that great on Friday. I thought it was more like battled his way through it than like, oh my God, there's 6 shutout or whatever, 5 2/3. So starting staff's been fine. Bullpen's been really good outside of Connor Brogdon. Just doesn't have it anymore.
He's not a part of it anymore. We can get to that.
Yeah. He's not a part of it anymore.
We'll miss you, Connor.
The big concern is the offense, because of all the things that sunk them last year. The offense from games 4 through 7, game 5 being the aberration that it might have been, was they were chasing a lot and they were striking out a lot, and they weren't putting together good at bats. I thought against the Nationals they put together pretty good at bats. Frankly, I thought the first 2 series of the weekend or first 2 series of the year, I was disappointed because we had talked a lot about Dustin Lind, not Adam Lind. It was Dustin Lind being brought in, and his whole thing was control the strike zone, get guys in the strike zone, and you'll bear better results and not chase as much. I thought against the Nationals they did a better job. I think they walked 8 times on Friday.
Much better. I mean, to be fair though, they could not have done a much worse job than they did in the first 2 series of the season.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. I mean, especially obviously the main culprits were the main culprits with Trey and Casty, but I agree. It felt like they were headed in a better direction.
And my big problem with the offense is I just don't know what the upside of the offense is. You know what I mean? Like I think the rotation's top 5. I think the bullpen's top 5. And when I've seen the lineup the first week and a half of the season, Trey is such a key piece to it from the standpoint of like he has to be really good, or else they kind of feel a bat short. Like Schwarber's doing his thing in the leadoff spot, a little too many singles early. More
singles machine, Kyle Schwarber.
That's exactly
no, I mean
right.
like that single, that 2-run single was huge. So
I know. Now he did try to steal a base and get doubled up today on the base pass.
Yeah, you know what though? He had a good jump there. That took a throw that like a tag on his foot.
It also took him. I get tagged on the foot.
I wasn't upset about that. I was furious about getting doubled up on the Bryce ball, but I had no problem with the I thought he had it. Like it looked like he had it. It was a great jump.
Yeah. So, and then he gets to like the 4 through 7 spots, and it's a combination of Bohm, Stott, JT, and then Marsh had a great start to the season, and then Rojas. JT's had a great start, looks pretty good. It's just I can't rely on JT being my 4-hole hitter. Like JT for me is a perfect 5 through 6 guy, but that 4 spot, like the key parts of a lineup, like Bryce is fine at third. Lead off, we know it's gonna be Schwarber. He's done a good job so far. 2 is where arguably your best pure hitter hits in modern baseball, and Trey just hasn't been that so far. Now I thought. In July, that ball today is a home run in the 9th. 100%.
Yeah, and he smoked that. He smoked
it. But it's been a little bit.
And it took a great catch. Even if it wasn't a home run, it took a great catch for it not to be a double or a triple or whatever.
Sure, but it's been back to chasing, and it's back to a lot of strikeouts. So it's been a frustrating start to the year for Trey. 2 is really important, and 4 is really important in this lineup. And like, I guess I just have to accept, right, that Bohm is a 280, 20 home run guy, and he's not 25 to 30, because that's where I think he should be.
And you want him to be if he's going to be your 4-hole hitter there. And look, to be fair, I mean, JT has been one of the better hitters on the team so far to start the season, So, I can't criticize it yet, but I agree. Like, it's like, can JT do this all season?
It's just more like if he was batting 5th, 6th,
I agree.
Phenomenal.
Well, the problem is, honestly, look, and I think that's who Bohm is. The real bummer is Castellanos in that situation. Like, ideally, for the money they're making and all that, and the prototype of the hitter that you were trying to get, I mean, that should be Nick Castellanos. Like, he should be the stone cold cleanup hitter backing up Rice. Like, and that's where that really comes back to bite you lineup construction wise when he is so underperforming, comparative to what you're paying.
Now, what could happen as the season goes along is if they feel like they're lacking like an impact bat in the middle of the lineup, is they could go Stott, Turner, Harper, blank, and then Schwarber if they wanted to, like, if that becomes someone in the middle of the lineup that
well, and they obviously could trade for someone too still. And look, that's the other part of this. That's what, like, where it all connects. It's that's why, like, none of the arguments, like the Dombrowski argument that a lot of people have parroted, and look, it is true where, if the first 8 guys aren't hitting, and especially the first 4 or 5, 6 guys, whatever you want to say, aren't hitting, then, it's like, it doesn't matter what Rojas is doing. But at the same time, those guys aren't going to hit all the time. And we see that. We know that a lot of these guys can go really cold. And when Rojas is an absolute 0 at the bottom of the lineup, I mean, that's when it's like, maybe you can't play this kid. Maybe it's not just about those 8 guys coming through, because they're not going to come through always. And you need, wouldn't it be nice if, what it felt like was going to happen today, where it's like, oh, the big guys aren't coming through, but you know what? Edmundo Sosa and Whit Merrifield are going to win you a baseball game with their bats. Because that's going to happen over 162. That's the kind of stuff you need to happen. And it's frustrating that, it is a absolute, and I know it wasn't lined up today, but Rojas has just been a absolute zero offense. It's so bad, man. So I'm just saying it all ties together. I'm saying
I agree.
Blame everybody right now.
I think it's one of those things, right, where it's sort of like how people are talking about the Eagles defense right now, where it's like, well, they have so much talent on offense, it won't matter. And then the second you watch them get torched.
It drives me crazy. It's like, oh, so they're going to win every game 50-48? Sure, it'll play out that way. Especially when we're like, is the quarterback going to be good or not? It's not like it's like a lock that it's infuriating. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, but it's the same thing with Rojas. It's like, oh, well, he's the ninth hitter, so it doesn't really matter until it's like second and third, 2 outs in the fifth inning of a close game, and I couldn't feel worse with him at the plate. And I think this is one of those things that I promise I will obsess over at least until I see
I
something
don't think
different.
You ever need to promise when you say I will obsess over, because you have proven you will obsess.
There's a couple things that I can't get over right now in Philly sports, and I'm sorry that 2 of these are Eagles. But one is Bradley Roby hip checking Brock Purdy in the Niners game rather than just trying to lay him out like I would like a guy to do in that situation.
I love what a deep cut. I've not heard anyone complain about this.
Go watch the second quarter of the Niners game.
Great take. I love it. I fully support it. Bradley Roby stinks. Honestly, make that take into how does Howie Roseman have Bradley Roby on the field in that situation?
Well, frankly, they needed it. Was the reality of the situation. So that I can't get out of my head. And I've already pretty much written off Nolan Smith because he tried to trip a guy on an end around, which I don't think I've ever seen before in the playoff game.
I won't write him off. But look, they are. It's one of those spots where it's like the Rojas thing in a little bit, where it's like, and look, it's different for the Phillies because I think they have, just a better team around him, with Nolan Smith and the defense around him. It's but they're saying, hey, guess what? A lot on your shoulders right here. You're going to be really important to us, and we have no idea if you could do it,
But the final thing that is just burned into my brain is what happened yesterday, where I swear to you, I'm not sure if you watched live, or did you watch the game live yesterday?
Yeah. I watched it.
Okay. Johan Rojas hit a ball that I was like, oh, that's in the gap. That ball's smoked. And the outfielder had to come in and get it.
Dude, I had the exact same reaction. I was like, look at that. And it's so shocking to see it off his bat. And also it must have been hit so softly that it slowed down so quickly once it went off. All we were seeing was the actual speed of the pitch coming off the bat, and then it slowed down immediately,
He might swing a pool noodle.
He is to your point, I was just thinking this when you said before, where it's when he comes up with second and third and, you're down at a run or whatever. Honestly.
Oh, wait, hold on real quick, though. I just want to make sure. That didn't happen.
No, not in a big game.
Year,
no.
Right?
Nope.
It didn't happen in a game 7?
If it did, obviously you would pinch him for him.
Yeah.
Never allow that to happen.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think, and right now, specifically in this moment, after what we've seen to start the season, I'm struggling to remember a Phillies regular that I would have less confidence in at the plate in that situation. I'm really
Kelly?
all right, a Phillies regular on a average to good team, not the 66 win baseball team type teams, but. Think about it.
Dude, how about this?
Andrew Knapp is not a regular. He's a backup catcher.
I would rather
have Andrew Knapp. I'd rather have Andrew Knapp up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got it for you. Deep breaths.
Yes.
Michael Martinez.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. Talk about being up in a big spot.
Well, it was only
not with the Phillies, the Phillies, but what a moment! Jeez,
dude, the funniest tweet I remember about that night was
Brian Coulter. It's so great.
When it was I got Indians fans at that point, Guardians fans, oh, like, okay.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind and freaking
press
out.
situation.
Yeah.
Cubs fans like, oh my God, who is this? This is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
The Phillies fans, this game's over.
No, I think it's Phillies fans. Is that Michael Martinez?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So and listen, I don't want to, because he seems like a great dude. The defense is there. We know that. The getting picked off second base was quite annoying. Given
Oh
that
my God, dude.
not much else is done well. How about this? How about this? No, I got one final thing.
And we know he can't hit. By the way, the Topper's excuse where like, oh, well, we hadn't seen an inside move from Diaz. That doesn't mean you can't recognize an inside move. Like, especially when you can't hit, you would figure you would be like, focus everything you have on being the best base runner the world could ever see. Because you know what? When you get on base, you better freaking take advantage of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, real quick. I don't think I've ever seen an inside move work, frankly. You know?
No. I mean, yeah.
I used to be a big Nola, inside move
other
guy.
Other than the Nola one, right?
Yeah, in the playoff game. We would work a lot on inside moves back in the day. And I don't know. I feel like I never tricked anyone with my inside
I'm with
move.
you. I mean, it's so hard to get picked off second base. Anyway. I mean, It's so hard. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Get picked off second base. Anyway.
So I just think with Rojas, at worst case scenario was that I thought he took pretty good at bats this weekend.
Oh, buddy.
I really did.
This is like this is like the record for Eagles references and whatnot. But that's like when they said Ryan Kerrigan was doing a great job because he was lining up in the right spot. It's like, great, man. The guy knows where to line up.
Which was the worst? Which was the worst Topper excuse this week? The inside move one or the new outfield wall is causing Castellanos problems?
Honestly, though, like I definitely the inside move. I mean, like, who cares if you haven't seen him do inside move? Know what an inside move is. The scoreboard one, I thought he explained it poorly, but like I can understand it a little bit, not enough where I'm blaming it the way they were, but like I understand that if it's brighter, it might seem like you're closer to the wall than you're used to or whatever. And look, sure. I don't love it, but I certainly can accept it more than inside move. Now, what I can't accept it is any more times. Like, you've played now there, that's like a couple times when that happens. All right, now we're good. You did it. Now you know what it's light is like, and we're good. But
well, I don't know if it was even the light. I frankly thought it might have been the horizontal movement on the pitches that was really throwing him off as he's going for the ball. You know what I mean? Like, expected Woba's up there, and he's like, "Oh, I can't concentrate."
That's what it is. Right. You're right. Yeah, he's like, "Oh," he started thinking. He's like, "Oh, I wonder what the expected Woba is on." Should
I even get to this ball? Like, expected batting average.
How do they calculate it so quickly? Like, that's amazing. Like, wait, it says an 800 expected batting average. I'm not even supposed to catch it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
What's the big deal? What's the big deal?
Yeah. All right. That's great. It's good.
It's not my favorite excuse of all time. My favorite excuse of all time is still Spencer Howard needing to eat closer to the start.
Oh yeah, that was oh my God. I mean, I like. Spencer Howard was a freaking excuse.
Dude, we are. Machine. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know early. I'm letting everyone listen to this podcast. We are sick people. Bringing up Spencer Howard.
Dude, Spencer Howard was an excuse machine. Like, if you had to ask me, like, name the top 5 like excuse machines in Philly sports history, I would actually think about Spencer Howard.
Dude, it was that. Do you remember the other one besides eating too close to the start?
What was it? It's like throwing his teammates under the bus or something. Coaching.
No. He was too tired running to first base.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. You know what's funny is I kept thinking of the heavy body with Eflin. And I was like, but then that's Eflin. That's how I was thinking of it. The tired body. All right. So look, we know they need to start hitting.
Yes.
Like, let's get to some specific guys because I actually have notes for this pod. Believe it or not.
Oh man, I'm so proud of you.
I did work. So I have in a bit we're gonna play. Let's play a game.
Do you have Iowa, South Carolina on the second TV right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
I mean, you got to record with the TV in the background. I mean, come on. Look, I'm not as locked in as I should be because I'm locked in on you. So I'm not great at doing 2 things at once in these situations when I make conversation. Yeah, I got to lock in on you. Yeah, I don't even like having to I just inside baseball. I just texted Tucker to make sure that he could post the pod. And I felt like uncomfortable just being like, recording now, can you post after? And I'm like,
he's
I'm trying to listen to Jack.
He's at WrestleMania, so that's
what a loser. You know what that means. Your boy has to post it. This guy.
Two thumbs. I got you until 7, pal.
I should go into bed in like 10 minutes. All right, here we go. I have to stay up and watch basketball tomorrow night, like so late. For the first time ever, I actually have to watch national championship.
Yeah, but you have a decent amount of coin on the line.
I can't wait for it. But also, I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to make this a character assassination on you.
I can't wait for this. This is wherever this is headed. I'm sure is going to be really enjoyable for me. So yeah, let's do it. What is it? Lay it on me. What do you got?
You having UConn as your national champ is vintage Seltzer. It's like,
I mean, look, think about it this way. I have the best UConn bracket. Like, what a badass move by me. I mean, now I'm sure they'll lose to Purdue because that's the way it goes for me. But I mean, come on, like it's so much more impressive. Everyone's gonna pick UConn. They're like the dominant team that everyone ever loved, and I picked the best UConn bracket. Like, come on. I think I deserve a lot of credit.
Well, the good news for you,
honestly, even if I lose, I might claim that I had the best bracket because I picked the best UConn bracket. I think that's a good move. That's
the good news for you is I can't physically stomach rooting for Zach Edey. So.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. And also, like, Purdue, come on, do we want Purdue to be national champions of basketball? I don't think so. Let's have some integrity, okay?
Good take.
Yeah, thank you. Have some integrity about it. Okay. All right, specific guys. Quickly, you mentioned Nola quickly. You could talk Ranger and Sanchi too, what you saw from those three guys. But like Nola, I agree with you. Obviously didn't give up any runs, but a lot of walks. Didn't seem like his stuff had a ton of bite. But look, and granted against a much worse offense, but after the disastrous start to the season, I was happy to see him kind of battle back and not get crushed and work out of situations, get out like second, third, one out type stuff and all that. So what do you think of Nola? And then Ranger, obviously, who I thought was really good.
So real quick, I'll get there. Are we all on the same page with calling Chris Sanchez Sanchi?
I thought it was just a.
You just rolled it right off the tongue, which I give you credit for.
Look at my notes. Here you go. I don't want you to see all my notes. I can't see your freaking
notes, man. They're too bright.
All right, whatever. The point is, I have it written as Sanchi. In my notes, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that we're on the same page with that. That's awesome. So I thought Nola was fine. I thought that by the fourth, fifth, I thought he started to like lock in mechanics wise and command wise. Now at the same time, it was one of those starts, and I talked about this on the final out on Friday, but where it kind of is like against a better offense, how's it play out? And I'm still not sure about that. Like, it wasn't a dominant performance. And that's kind of how I felt about the whole weekend, where if they play a better team, are we getting the same result here? So that's just the reality of where this team is at, where we kind of, unfortunately, in some instances, treat this team like every game is game 7. Like, is this good enough to win in the postseason? And on Friday night, it was good. It was fine. There's a lot of walks. I feel like it didn't really lock in until later in the start. But I will say I like the way that Thompson managed that inning, where Joey Gallo is really the only guy in that lineup that I feel confident that can hit the ball at the ballpark, even though I think he stinks.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to a lefty on him with a runner on base. And I don't think that's losing faith in Aaron Nola, but I think it's when Joey Meneses smokes the ball to the wall or the
in the moment, going back to how I felt in the moment, I was absolutely fine with the decision. I had no problem with it.
Right. So, I thought it was fine. It was a good step forward. It was good. It didn't collapse. I thought he threw with more conviction. I thought against the Braves, he just didn't have enough conviction. And that's where I feel like Nola starts getting into these bad ruts, is where he's not convicted in what he's throwing. But he was pretty good. I'm not going to go over the top. I'm not going to say he's back, but he was fine. And it was a game that, again, they should have won 7-0, 10-0.
Exactly. I mean, that was totally so many opportunities and more base running mistake. Was it Cassie get doubled off or Harper did? I mean, it was like was Harper. What are we doing?
Actually, well, I think JT started it because JT was going.
No. That was another one. I think there were 2 spots, weren't there? That was Saturday.
It was one a game at this
point.
Game.
That was JT's fault. But Harper also was dumb about it. Just stay at third there. What are you doing? Like, anyway, I also might have perhaps bet on Harper to score a run and was super annoyed in that situation. Anyway,
Look at you. Look at
I
you.
know.
Big
You
betting
should be
guy.
proud of me. I know. Brackets, betting. You know what I do.
I haven't
All
bet in a
right.
long time, so you're doing more than I am.
Whoa, look at you. You'll go back on a run knowing you. All right. Ranger Sanchi. Ranger obviously much better than Sanchi. What were your thoughts?
Just getting used to Sanchi.
Sanchi.
I thought Ranger was great. Like I just
Me too.
I think we're in the again. I think I talked about this. Did we talk about this last podcast? But nationally, it seems like Ranger doesn't get much respect. And it's like you look at the Phillies rotation, and by Fangraphs, by these kind of sites out there, it's like the Wheeler Nola. Oh my God, what a 1-2! And I think we have such a different look at Ranger as Phillies fans because we've seen what he does in the postseason, and we're like, Ranger's our guy. By the way, like Ranger's the coolest Philly, right? I mean, he made a couple. Couple plays from the mound.
He's so awesome. At least playing style and the way he goes about his business. Yes. I mean, Harper, because he's Bryce Harper and he comes through in the clutch. But yes, without a doubt, it's absolutely right.
So I think that nationally, he doesn't get the amount of respect that I think Phillies fans put on him. And we talked about it, fantasy circles. Chris Sanchez is viewed as a better fantasy pitcher. I have this feeling we're getting this Ranger. No, I'm actually really good kind of season. Like I'm a 3.5 ERA guy, and the simple fact of the matter is too, he's pitching for a contract extension.
No doubt.
They've obviously handed out.
No doubt.
And it's one to monitor at the same time. Like obviously we don't have to start writing the end of Ranger Suarez's career here, but with Andrew Painter coming back, they already paid Wheeler $42 a year. They're paying Nola a ton.
Yeah.
Can they
it's
afford it?
Interesting. Yeah, it depends on it's a fascinating thought. And look, it's something I thought about.
And the Rays will pay him $41 million like Eflin.
Of course, yeah, I know.
And he'll go win a Cy Young.
Yeah, win a World Series there as their ace in the playoffs. All right, what do you think of Sanchi? Because obviously I thought Sanchi was really good in his first outing, but less so today. Really struggled with the strike zone. It was a tight strike zone, but still, you just didn't seem to have it as much today.
No, and maybe I'm scarred from the. And I don't want to sound alarms. Like, I promise I'm not doing that. But I'm telling you how I was watching. I was like, this kind of feels off. And maybe I'm scarred because of all the pitching injuries happening right now. But I feel like I saw
which
more,
I have on my notes to get to. Thank you very much.
I feel like I saw more of him stretching himself out a good amount. Like I saw him kind of flexing his back shoulder muscles, and I just hope he's not. I hope he's not hurt. I really do.
Well, he came in. He was one of those guys, and the dreaded flu that Kirker and the whole thing that was bad. He was one of the guys who apparently had hit the hardest, and he
lost 10 pounds.
When we were down there, yeah, Dombrowski said he's not going to go deep into games to start the season. He went like 6 innings in his first start, right? And then today, I think it's something where maybe even if he's not injured, I think maybe after that first start, he didn't have as much gas for this one, and he just kind of needs to build it up, is my guess.
Yeah, I thought he fought himself a lot today. I thought against the Reds, he had unbelievable location of his fastball. Changeup worked pretty well off that. Slider was fine. And today, I just don't think he had a feel for anything. Now, I don't think it was like the warmest game down in Washington, so maybe that had a part to do with it. But yeah, he didn't get shelled. He kept the team in the ball game. He gave him 5, 4 and a third, whatever. He did his job. He's the 4th, 5th starter at this point. So I'm not gonna go over the top. I thought he was fine. I thought he was fighting himself. I hope he's not injured, and I look forward to his next start because I still trust him to not really get shelled. And there was some questionable defensive stuff when he was out there as well that wasn't totally his fault. So
I agree.
He was fine. He was all right.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Look, and again, I thought, Junior came into a tough spot, but, he gave up his head, but I thought he looked great. I mean, his stuff is nasty, and the bullpen was great all series, really. All right. Before I want to get to those pitcher injuries you mentioned, but we're going to start first by playing a game. Let's test your pitching knowledge, or at least your guesses. You obviously might not know this, but coming into today, prior to today, so the numbers might have changed slightly today, but do you know what team has the lowest ERA in baseball as a team?
Like not just bullpen, but
This is excuse me. Great question. This is starting ERA. Excuse me, starting pitching ERA, not bullpen.
lowest starting ERA. If it's not the Phillies,
It's not the Phillies. I just figured I'd test your knowledge, and then I'll tell you where the Phillies are at.
I would guess Seattle.
No.
Okay.
It's shocking. It's the Kansas City Royals. They've been great.
Oh, Seth Lugo, big contract.
Yeah. Michael Wacha crushing it yesterday. The Phillies, though, are sixth. The Phillies coming in today at a 2.93 ERA. Obviously, it'll go up a little bit with what Sanchez did today, but ultimately, starting pitching's been really good. The Atlanta Braves starting pitching, Jack, 27th in ERA, 5.81. Now, granted, they keep winning games. Then again, that
doesn't matter. Okay, you can't win every game 9-8.
Yesterday was so annoying. And look, it was one of those where at least they were beating the Diamondbacks. So some at least there was some wins for us.
I know it's weird.
I was rooting for the Diamondbacks, flat out. Honestly, let's take this freaking division. All right, it's right there because that's the point. I'm gonna have one more fun. Let's text Jack's knowledge, in a second, but the Strider injury, which sucks, honestly, as a baseball fan, and especially, look, we've talked about how of everyone on the Braves, I thought he handled the playoff thing last year the best. He was the most this is on us. This isn't on the layoff. We have to be better. The fans are great. Philly, I thought he was great and he pitched well and they didn't support him in his games. But I think it sucks. It really does. But it's also something that, if you're just being realistic, is a massive thing for the Phillies. I mean, he's their best pitcher. He's the Cy Young favorite, as we know, one of the best pitchers in baseball. That injury itself, and then obviously Bieber gets hurt, and this whole blaming it on the pitch clock thing and not on the fact that Spencer Strider throws 100 miles an hour all the time, but whatever. Your thoughts on the Strider injury and its impact on the division, obviously, and then also the injury thing with the pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Spencer Strider is really good, and as a pitching nerd, I like watching Spencer Strider pitch. So,
and as a baseball fan, we want him to be around.
It definitely helps, obviously, the Phillies if he ends up being done for a little bit here, but at the same time, I'm sure the Braves can call someone else up, and they'll come in and do a job. So yeah, it stinks from that standpoint because he is damn good, and watching him pitch is truly a joy. I don't buy the pitch clock thing.
Same.
I think it has a lot to do with these guys are spinning the baseball harder than they've ever spun the baseball before. Mm-hmm. And Spencer Strider's a guy who learned a curveball this offseason or found a curveball this offseason. So he's adding more torque to that elbow and trying to spin as much as possible. And sure, the Rapsodo cameras can tell you how hard you need to do it, and they can pretty much biomechanic this whole thing and create perfect pitches in the lab. But it's the one thing that really makes sense as to why we are getting the uptick in the amount of injuries that we are. And Shane Bieber's a guy, seemed like the stuff was trending down the last couple of years. Bang, opens up the season, has some new pitches, all of a sudden has more spin, has more velocity. Bang, there's an arm injury. So you look at the Rays, you look at the Dodgers, you look at these teams that have emphasized throwing harder, spinning the ball more, and they've had a ton of injuries. Meanwhile, you have a team like the Phillies who it seems like are more pitchers, and they're more command guys, and they're not unbelievable stuff guys. And it hasn't come back to bite them yet, and knock on wood, because it seems like pitcher injuries are cropping up all the time.
And look, Painter, I mean, so it did bite the Phillies in a certain way. I mean, that was someone they were hoping who could contribute this year before that injury, So
yeah. So I just think a lot of it has to do with spin. A lot of it has to do with
and just the pressure on these guys' arms. I mean, just throwing that hard. I mean, arms aren't meant to take that sort of, beating in terms of a velocity and the repeated motion, a repeated nature of it and all that. I mean, it's crazy. It's just, it's not, I think the pitch clock is a crazy excuse.
Right. So by the way, back in the day, people, they moved much quicker. So whatever.
Totally.
The thing about the Braves.
Exactly. and they had rubber arms, these guys, and we're fine. Nolan Ryan, pitched till he was 46 and threw, 200 pitches and insane stuff. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
The thing about the Braves, though, is that that rotation all of a sudden gets very old. So Fried got shelled, by the way, against the
bad start to the season for Max. Yeah.
In a contract year, right? He's a free agent at the end of the year.
I don't know, but it sounds right.
I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year. Then you're relying on Sale Morton, who are like 100 years old.
Yep.
I mean,
yep. And Sale is, not had a recent track record of success. Obviously he could get back there. Who knows? But
yeah, and not to make this a nervous about the Braves kind of podcast, but the big X factor here is Hurston Waldrep, who I believe I texted you on Friday to pick up as soon as possible. I wonder if they bring him up. Like, they'll probably bring up Smith Shawver first because he had a good spring, and he's someone that they believe
has experience as well.
He was the number one prospect last year and whatever. But I think Hurston Waldrep is the X factor in all this. Like, if Strider's done for the year, we'll see if he comes up. But yeah, I mean, it changes a lot. If Strider's done. I mean,
changes
first off,
the balance of power in the NL East and the National League. It's massive. Yeah, I mean, they could recover. Look, we saw them lose Acuna and win the World Series, but it's a massive loss. It's massive. It'd be like the Phillies losing Wheeler. I mean, it's exactly what it's like, essentially.
Yeah. So, it's just it stinks for the Braves. Could potentially be good for the Phillies. All I know is that I have Wheeler plus 900 for the Cy Young. So.
Ew. All right, I have one more. Let's play test your pitching knowledge. It's really just taking a guess, but I'm going to save that for the end. Let's get to the mailbag because I'm going to assume in there is the take bag. I'm going to assume in there is a goodbye to our guy Connor Bay. Who, crazy to think, just in 2022 pitching big moments and outs in the World Series and where it's gotten to. Your thoughts on that? Benoni, Robles, all that. Let's get to the take back.
Yeah, so obviously Brock not figuring it out here is annoying. Back when he was 97, 98 with the changeup, it was like, wow, there's something there. And I would not be surprised at all.
Dude, the Dodgers traded for him. It's like, yeah, of course they did.
Well, and they gave up someone that's like relatively interesting.
Yeah. He's 23 in high A, which is like weird, but
there's 100.
Yeah, who doesn't these days, Jack?
I know. So, Brogdon just didn't work out here, and he just looked defeated on the mound. Like
he said it. Did you hear that last quote after that? I mean, like that's one of those. He like you rarely hear athletes that open about like. I've like basically saying I have no idea what I'm doing out there. Like I think about every step of my mechanics as I'm doing them. Like I'm lost. I mean, you could tell he's really in his head. I felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is an unbelievable mental grind on people. Just is what it is. Like it is. You have to repeat the same mechanics over and over again. If you feel like you're not confident, like it just completely screws with you. So
and one little thing, like your foot placement, like being a half inch off or whatever it is, these little things that the level you left your leg to being a half inch or whatever it is, or the speed with which you do it being slightly too quick or whatever. It's all these things. It is wild to when you say, and you know this better than but that like to have to think, obviously it becomes sense memory and you do it, you repeat it and all that. But if you are in your head and thinking about it each time, I mean, it must be so hard to do it when you're thinking about it as you do it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why you quit and become a radio person and a Phillies podcaster. That's why you do it. I remember my sophomore year when things weren't going well, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try dropping down. So I can be like a little sidewinder.
Yeah. Nice. Yep.
Yeah. I always wanted to be one.
I'm happy you didn't do that.
Well, here's the thing: is that I never really wanted to be the ace of a staff. If I could be,
I know you just want to be. Yeah, you just want to be a guy who came in and got some big outs and a big spot guy. I know it. I get
big
it.
Spot guy. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So, it's a shame about Brogdon. But I guess I'm curious what Robles has.
Sure.
I got some general bullpen thoughts here first. I have very scattered take back today as I write things down. while the games are going on. Yes. So it's all over the place. So I'll try to trim this on down. Gregory Soto had a fantastic start to the season. Last year he was all over the place. He, moving to a new team, but hopefully he is on the Alvarado track here. Second year, Caleb Gotham. This pitching staff, or this pitching coaching staff, is getting the most out of Gregory Soto, because obviously the stuff's there. He throws
big time
a ton, and the slider looks pretty good. But he's had a couple one batter, one out kind of situations so far, and he hasn't really added to that. So Gregory Soto's
control. It's just control with him. Like if he's throwing strikes, he's really hard to hit.
Yep, Junior Marte. Even today,
love him.
Today,
I don't blame today on him at all. Like, it was a tough spot he came into. He gave up a line drive fly ball that, unfortunately, had a super fast guy on third base.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So he might be on that Jeff Hoffman last year track, where comes out of nowhere and develops into one of their most trustworthy righties. Because right now, you look at the bullpen, it's Hoffman, who I think we all trust a ton. And by the way, extend Jeff Hoffman. Mm-hmm. And it's an official position. Would like to make sure he's a Philly for life. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it.
Sure. Let's go with that.
He can't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
You have
Sir Anthony.
Sir Anthony, I thought looked really good today. I thought he looked good all
last
national
couple
series.
outings. Yeah, last couple outings he's been better.
Velocity's there. I think he's getting some bite back to that slider. Really
the
important.
pen's been great, really, since the opening series. The pen's been awesome.
Yeah. And then the third right-handed option, I don't know. Yeah. It's probably Marte. So until Kirkering
comes back. His stuff, and Kirkering will be at that. But Marte's stuff has popped off the screen almost as much as any reliever this season, in my opinion. His stuff is not hitters look silly against him sometimes.
Yeah, and I was kind of concerned that the slider. Because when I watch Marte, and I believe that they have taught him a splitter, which is just phenomenal. Again, a very, very pro splitter on this podcast. Yeah. Best pitcher in baseball.
Or the Phillies, it seems. Yeah.
But you look at his arm slot, and he has 95 to 98 with that two-seam sink to it. And then to try to get around it, because it comes down to getting around the baseball and being able to drive it the opposite way with the slider. I think it just leads to flattening out more than not. And it's not a pitch that I think has consistency. But if you can go 95 to 98 with a two-seamer, and then, 88 with the splitter, there's enough difference there to where it should get guys off the barrel. So I think that's the best path going forward with Junior Marte. But I think that there's at least something there. Now, Kirkering had a really good... He's on the way back, thank God. Looked dominant last night for the Threshers. 4 strikeouts. The sweeper was sweeping. It's just...
He'll be here, and he'll be good. Yeah.
I can't wait.
I have so much faith in him. I really do.
Well, it allows these starters to really go 5 innings.
Which is, huge. I mean, it's early. I know people get mad at Topper, and I have at times in certain situations with certain decisions because I don't think he's had a great start to the year.
Oh, interesting. What group chat are you currently talking about?
No. Again, I haven't had that many. I'm not angry like most people are. I didn't we've talked about it. We talked about it last pod. I didn't like the Strom over Hoffman against Duvall decision, the first series. There have been a couple things. They're not popping out right this second. Nothing crazy. I just feel like he hasn't done an awesome job managing the pen. But I'm not going to blame him for not pushing starters early in the season. Is the point? Honestly, I'm not going to blame him for not pushing any pitcher early in the season. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think at least early for Thompson. I didn't hate sitting Stott today. Stott, I think, had 2 hits in the last couple games.
And look, Mackenzie Gore was tough for
Mackenzie Gore might finally be finding it.
Good, yeah. I was the most impressed. We've probably seen him 3-4 times now since he came over the Nats against the Phils, and either in relief or in starts. That was easily the nastiest he's looked.
For sure. So yeah, I just think the bullpen's in a pretty good spot. Junior Marte, Kirkering on the way back. I mean, they might in week and a half, 2 weeks. They might have Hoffman, Sir Anthony, Marte, Kirkering as the right-handed options. It's pretty pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then left-handed options,
Alvarado,
Soto,
Strom,
Strom.
and Strom,
Like,
sick.
it's good.
Sick.
It's a really good bullpen. It's a really, really, really good bullpen.
Yeah, it really is.
I can't wait. Tonight, obviously, annoying they lost. But I'm counting down the days and really the minutes now because we are a little over 24 hours away.
Spencer
Turnbull's second start, man. I can't
exactly
wait.
Where you're going with that one. Yep.
I can't wait.
I know.
I can't wait. He's the greatest.
Yeah. I can't wait.
At least you watch him.
He was really good in that start. And the Reds are a good team. That was the only game they won against the Reds.
MVP right now.
Yeah, I know, dude. I mean, they're good. I'm with you, dude. I always like Turnbull, but we'll see. Look, similar to Sanchez, looked great in his first start, and then didn't in the second. We'll see if Turnbull can kind of keep it rolling. So, but yeah, I'm excited. Not as excited as you, obviously.
Cannot wait. But he flashed 5 pitches in the first game, so I know that made you very excited.
Oh, dude, it's all I was talking about. I mean, I probably said it. I mean, I had multiple conversations about it.
Yeah, so Spencer Turnbull is incredibly important. And then, yeah, I mean, everything else is like kind of offense related. Castellanos, Trey, Merrifield's like popping the ball up a little bit too much for me. Like you should be.
Yeah.
You speed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The runners scoring position thing, they were pretty good at it last year. It just feels like they haven't gotten that.
Yeah,
look, the other night, but they don't have.
I want them to get better and start better and all that. But like after the last 2 years, especially last year, when it's like the exact same things, the base running to this, like it's just like I'm annoyed about it and I'm disappointed about it. But I can't sit here and like rant and rave about it. I can rant and rave about Rojas not being able to hit and that probably almost definitely being a bigger issue than it seems they think it is at the moment. But I can't like that. Do I think that Bryce Harper's not gonna hit all? And Bryce has been fine actually. I mean Trey Turner, I think he's not gonna. No, I don't. Do I think they're gonna be this dumb on the bases all year? No, I don't. But I'm annoyed by it. So it's like. I'm with you. I just don't have much else to say about it. I do have one more question for you.
I think my biggest hope from the weekend offensively is that I thought that they took better at bats, and I thought they were controlling.
Bryce was really locked in, with his at bats, and he was really spraying the ball over the field too.
Yeah, so I think that they did a good job in trying to get pitchers into the strike zone. At the same time, it's the Nationals pitching staff, which is not exactly the best in the world, but I was definitely happy with that. And then. Final thing in the take bag. It was a good weekend. They took 2 or 3.
This face.
But
Aiden Miller do something or something? Is this where we're going?
No, it's George Clausen who.
Okay, same. I knew. I mean, I know you too well at this point. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I look like by the end of this year, I believe he's going to be in the top 100 prospects. Like he's just sick. So. You have Clausen, who's a stud. Miller's a stud. Starlin Caba starting to finally get some buzz, which is
80
exciting.
grade shortstop I saw potentially. What?
Yep.
Are you telling me we can have the best defensive shortstop in baseball? Okay, sure.
Well, given the shortstop in the defensive position right now.
Hey, tell me.
Not great. Not great.
Future left fielder, Trey Turner. Future center
fielder.
Future second baseman, depending on what happens. Who knows?
But that's all I got. George Clausen. All right. As last year, I believe I mentioned Kerkering very early on in this podcast.
Dude, that was honestly, you've had some great calls. That was probably your best ever in the sense that just the idea that you would mention this guy who's in high A in like our preseason or like very beginning of the season episodes, and that he would actually pitch in the playoffs for the team is like that like you'll never do that again. Don't plan on it. That was unbelievable.
It won't happen again. But George Clausen is a stud, man.
Love it. All right, last one more. Let's play a game of testing Jack's baseball knowledge before we get out of here. Just because I was surprised at the number. First of all, do you know what pitcher threw the most pitches in a game so far this season? Obviously, not a long season so far, but I assumed you didn't. But it was not surprisingly no hitter guy. Blanco from Astros. All right. Yeah. So it makes sense, but take a guess. I just want to know how many pitches do you think he threw, and thus is the most pitches that has been thrown in a baseball game entering today. It might have been passed today, and I didn't see it, but take a guess.
106.
Wow, 105. Unbelievable guess. First of all, nice job. 105 pitch no hitter is pretty good these days, I feel like.
Yeah, it's efficient.
It is crazy that we're at that point. And I know it's early in the season, but like 105 pitches that we are almost 2 weeks into a baseball season and no one's thrown 106 pitches yet is pretty crazy. And I know that that's the way it's trended and all that, but I don't know. I like that there isn't 110, 111 here or there. Like I know it's early and I know we'll get there at certain points of the season, but it is wild when you see these numbers pop up and it's like, wow, that's not that many pitches, you know?
Sure isn't, pal. It sure isn't.
Anyway.
But yeah, pitching's just changing a lot. And obviously the injuries is going to make these teams even more scared. But the nice part about the Phillies rotation is that they've never been the most, like at least in the rotation, they're not the most power-driven team. Mm-hmm. Like they're more pitchers than guys with a ton of stuff outside of Wheeler.
And it's Wheeler's the funny, and also one of the funniest of all of it, whereas Wheeler had all these injury issues early in his career, and that's part of the reason the Mets decided not to match or try and beat what the Phillies gave him, like that he had yet to really put it together and stay healthy. He'd stayed healthy for a full season, but hadn't stayed healthy for many full seasons and haven't put together. So it's wild that he's, in his older age has just turned into this bastion of health. But also it goes back to what you're talking about before, like if your mechanics are good, if you can repeat the same thing over and over again, it's going to be better for your arm because you're not stressing it. You're not constantly putting more pressure on it in different spots and all that type of stuff, So anyway, it's good stuff.
Good pitching talk out of you right there.
Yeah, I got to help you out sometimes.
Yeah. I've often said that.
Us pitching guys. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Very, very important.
All right. We done?
I think we're done.
Love
it. Cardinals on
Cardinals.
deck.
God, I hate the Cardinals.
Hold on, should we? People got mad at the Spencer Steer thing, but it also it's a pretty good call by us.
Oh, it was a phenomenal call by. I mean, I have a name if you want one.
No, give me your name.
Nolan Gorman's gonna be super annoying.
Interesting. I'm gonna go Brendan Donovan.
Oh, he's always annoying. That's just a evergreen call. I enjoy that. That's well done by you.
Yeah, the annoying players are the ones that
you are like an ace at spotting them. It's like the people who can see a jelly bean thing and be there's 1,800 jelly beans in there and it's 1,800. You're like that with spotting these guys. You're like, oh, that's one right there.
Well, it's part of the only reason why. Like I've wanted Luis Guillorme on the Phillies for, I don't know.
Oh my God, forever.
It's a permanent trade deadline thing. Just go get Luis Guillorme and everything's fine.
It's great.
Thank you.
All right. I have to post this podcast, so that's fun.
Edit post.
Right. It'll be great. It'll be great. All right, go Phils. Can we I have one request, and 2 of 3 would do that this next series, but can we just get above 500 and stay there? Like, enough of this. I get you don't have to be the hottest start in baseball. I don't need you to, that seems clear that's probably not going to happen. I don't need you to reel off 10 of 11 and then we're rolling. Like, that'd be cool. Don't get me wrong. We're not expecting it, but can we just get above 500 and build our way consistently from there instead of being 7 under and then 4 under? Oh, we're back and then we're under again. And we got to 500 and we're under. That's all I'm asking. Okay. I'm not asking for much right now, Jack. I'm not asking for the moon here.
They will in due time. Are you excited for the debut of the City Connects on Friday night or what?
Oh, Jack, you know me so well. That's all I've been talking about. Yeah, can't wait. On that note, no, they're fine. I actually don't. Here's what I'll say. I don't hate them.
They're fine.
Yeah,
deep breaths.
They're fine. All right. We'll be back later in the week, and please, Phil, just 2 or 3, and God forbid a sweep. But what a thought. All right. Until then, he's Fritz and Seltzer.